Hey guys, this is Karlyn Borysenko. I am live over on my Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn .substack.com. I do exclusive live streams over on Substack as the main platform that I really prefer people supporting my work on. And I got to do a great big thank you to you guys. I am the number, what is it, 38? Am I 38? I think I might be 30. I'm either 30, I think I'm number 38. Let's see, hang on. Yes. If you go to my profile on Substack, I am the number 38 rising Substack in US politics. I am literally beating Dan Rather right now for the number of new subscribers I'm bringing in. I'm kicking Libs of TikTok's ass in that list right now. I am one of the only non-lefties on that list. And you can find it by going to my profile. You can click through, you can see the other people. What this is basically it's not the top Substacks, because I'm nowhere near the top Substack, but it's like the Substacks that are bringing in the most new audience, the most new subscribers, the most new supporters, like the rising stars. And so I really appreciate everyone new that's been joining the Substack lately, because that's awesome. I would love to get higher in that list. I would love to break into the top 10 of that list. That would be rad. So if you're not supporting my work yet on Substack, please consider doing so today. $8 a month, $80 a year. I am 100% funded by people just like you. I take no big money backing from any political organization. I do not shill any political narrative. I only show up for you to tell you the truth, show you receipts, give you the information so you can make the best decision for yourself. So it's been kind of a crazy couple of weeks, hasn't it? I was not prepared for, you kind of think you're prepared, but I don't think anything can truly prepare you for going on Fox News and then doing an hour-long interview on InfoWars and then having all these other people suddenly want to talk to you and then being mentioned on Joe Rogan. And I know they didn't use my full name, so it's kind of one of those things where like I was mentioned on Joe Rogan, but if you don't know who I am, you may have had a hard time finding me. But it's still, man, I was overwhelmed by the number of messages I got saying, "Karlyn, you got mentioned on Joe Rogan." I was like, "Holy shit, man. That's crazy. That's crazy." I have more people viewing my work than have ever viewed my work before. And by the way, that includes in 2020. Most of my platform, especially on YouTube, was built in 2020. And I had a lot of people watching my work. I made a ton of money. I had a ton of new subscribers, all that stuff. After Biden got elected, I kind of decided to go in a different direction, and so things changed. And I never really worried about subscriber numbers or anything like that. I always just kind of thought that if I just did what I wanted to do, that I was what I was interested in, that I would attract the right audience to me. So I never really have been one to worry about subscriber numbers, but holy shit, I have grown. My YouTube channel has grown more in the past month than in any single month in 2020 when I was really getting to be very well known. And I gotta tell you guys, listen, I never expected to get rich covering socialism on the internet, but the amount of new revenue that has come from the massive increase in the YouTube views, the massive number of new audience members that are joining the channel, the new subscribers on Substack, the new merchandise sales, like holy the new donations to the Center for Left Wing Studies, like holy shit. Holy shit. I never expected to get rich covering socialism on the internet, and I'm not saying I'm rich by any means. It's just like it's kind of like one of those things where you know, money isn't everything, but money gives you a certain amount of freedom to be able to do the things you want to do. And there have been so many things that I've wanted to do kind of in the back of my head for years that I couldn't do because I just didn't have the money for it. I didn't have the funding for it. I mean, I've always been supported by my audience and, listen, I can't thank the people who have supported my work over the years enough. You guys have literally allowed me to do what I do. But when you rely on audience support, you don't always get as much as you want, and you don't always get as much as you want to do the big projects. And now all of a sudden, I'm in a position where I'm like, not only can I continue to do the things I was doing already, I can actually start to think about some of those bigger things that I wanted to do that I just didn't have the resources to do. And that's awesome. It's really fucking great. And I really hope this keeps up. I hope we're able to keep attracting more people into what I'm doing. I have so many different ideas for different educational things I want to do, different resources I want to create. Of course, like having more money allows me to create more resources for people. It allows me to make things public and freely available that maybe I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And there's so many things we can do. So I've been getting a lot of questions from people. They're kind of like they're saying, Carlin, now that it seems like your work has broken through finally, where does it go from here? And that's a good question. And I want to make sure I'm talking to you guys about that because I like operating very transparently. Um, I don't ever want there to be surprises, right, about what I'm doing. But the reality is kinda like, okay, so, like, all of a sudden, I'm having people reach out to me to do these interviews, like, I'm getting talked about in these big places, and that's all cool, and I definitely do wanna take advantage of opportunities to spread my work when they come up, but I wanna be very clear, I'm not gonna just go on, like, any show. I'm not gonna go do any single thing. It really does have to make sense. I've always been with what I'm doing now. I learned a lot in 2020 when I was thrust into, like, the conservative media sphere. I learned what I wanted, and I learned what I didn't. And one of the things that I absolutely learned is it's not worth it to build the wrong audience. You can build up a mass audience of the wrong people. You can build up a mass audience by going on every single show and doing every single interview and have that audience be the complete wrong audience for what you're doing. And that doesn't and you may make more money in the short term, but long term, it's going to kill you. And so I want to be very strategic about where I'm spending my time and where I'm spending my energy because from my perspective, I don't really expect my trajectory to change that much from what it already was. Like I made decisions at the beginning of the year about the things I wanted to spend my time on. I wanted to spend time writing books. I've already written 4 books this year. I have a bunch more I'm working on. They aren't coming as along as fastly as I would like them because I'm now very distracted and busy, but book writing is a very important thing to me. I think we need to be writing more books, and so that is a project that definitely has my focus. The Center for Left-Wing Studies is a very important thing to me, and especially with all the new interest, and I'm so thrilled at the number of people who have reached out to volunteer. If you signed up to volunteer in the Discord, you have been verified in the Discord. I'm gonna be getting, you more information. We are gonna be having a volunteer meeting, our first volunteer meeting for the Center for Left-Wing Studies in the Discord, on Monday at 8 PM Eastern Time, so if you wanna join that, make sure you get in on that meeting. I will tell you more about my vision. I will tell you about the volunteer opportunities. We'll talk about how we're gonna structure this. I've never run a nonprofit before, so this is a new thing for me and I hope everyone's patient and flexible. I have a very specific vision for what I'm trying to fulfill with this nonprofit, and I think it's important. We're going to do things like map out the modern activist left. We're going to do things like analyze far left propaganda and make these resources available to the public. We're going to do things like track all of the gender and queer nonsense that's going on in major universities to really show people what's going on directly with primary source evidence. We're going to be doing a project where we're going to be talking about the development and evolution of queer Marxism as an ideology because I think it's the most dangerous thing that exists on the far left, and I think it's the thing that's going to bite us all in the ass in the long run. So we do have very specific things that we're going to be working on. I have a very specific vision for what I want this nonprofit to be, um, and I do really think that this is important. And we're going to be doing stuff that literally no one else out there is doing that I know of. And so if you want to volunteer for that, head over to leftwingstudies.com, click on the volunteer link, and follow the instructions. I cannot emphasize this enough. You have to be able to read the instructions and follow the instructions. They're not hard, but I've already run into many instances where people go to try to volunteer, but they don't read and follow the instructions. There is a reason that I have this bar because in order to be an effective volunteer for what I have envisioned, you need to be able to be detail oriented and follow instructions. It just is, guys. It just is. And I'm sorry if that's not your thing, and I'm sorry if you're more of like I don't know. There just has to be a certain level of detail orientation to this, okay? And so if you want to volunteer, I would welcome anyone who's interested. If you're brand new to the community, we will teach you. You're gonna have to learn about my work. You're gonna have to learn about my style of analysis, but we will teach you, okay? So that's really exciting, and that's something I foresee being a very important part of the trajectory going forward. Um, I'm gonna keep doing the streams, obviously. The streaming is a very important part of what I do. It's how I teach, it's how I research. Nothing's going to change there. I do like the live protest coverage, and it certainly brings more people into the channel. So we're going to keep doing that. I also anticipate doing more live classes. I want to do a book club before the end of the year. I wanted to do a book club about my Communist Manifesto book all year long, and then just kept getting kind of distracted with protest stuff and riot coverage, so I kept postponing the book club. I do want to do a book club with my book, The Communist Manifesto, A Revolutionary Fairy Tale. So there's so much stuff I want to do, I guess is what I'm saying. And I guess what I want people to hear from me directly is, insofar as what I have visioned and what I want to spend my time working on, I don't anticipate, just because there are more people watching my work and there are more people who want to interview me, I don't anticipate spending all my time as a fucking pundit or a commentator. That's not what I do. It's just not what I do. And it's not what I want to do. And listen, like, I don't know, like, people might not understand this, but like, I was on all these big shows in 2020. I was on Dave Rubin, I was on Glenn Beck, I was on Fox News, I was on almost every major, like, conservative outlet had me on an interview. I was on the Daily Wire. I was on, I was on all these different conservative outlets that wanted to interview me back in 2020. Um, and so I did a PragerU video, which was the biggest mistake of my life, but, it was what it was. Um, I did all these big things in 2020, and I understand better now than I did back then, that focusing on stuff like that, it might feel good in the short term. It's always nice to have positive attention and stuff like that, but, like, it doesn't actually build anything of value. And at the end of the day, if you're constantly just chasing fame, if you're constantly just chasing internet clout or to be on the news or to have that next big interview, it's really, really unfulfilling. And so I don't want people to think that I'm going to, like, just because I'm getting more attention now, that I have any intention of going in that direction, because I really don't. What I have intention of doing is continuing to do exactly what I've been doing that led me to this point. That's what I have the intention of doing. Like, I like the ideas that I have in terms of the books and the projects and the, nonprofit and all this stuff. Like, these are things that have been in my head for a while, and I actually do want to execute them. There's so many things I want to do. I want to start my own journal through the Center of Left Wing Studies in the form of a zine, and have us do a zine analyzing the far left. I want to host a conference where people are coming together to talk about left wing activism and how we can strategize and how we can get around it. I want to have actual discussions with people intellectually about this material on the far left. I want to put together a book analyzing the most important far left zines from the last 5 decades. Like, there's so many fucking things that I want to do that I just think are really cool. Like, I have the coolest job in the world right now. I get to study the far left for a living because you guys allow me to do it. That's awesome. It's awesome. It's so cool. It's so dystopian. There's so many things I want to write and so many projects I want to create and so many things I want to do with you guys as members of my community, because I know that I'm not the only one that's super into this stuff. We're all into this stuff. Hans says, building a legacy. You know what? Actually, yes. Yes, in a very real way. I mean, one of the things I've thought about quite a bit, and these are conversations I've had with people over the years, is people say to me, they say, Karlyn, your work's not for right now. Your work is for 50 years from now or 100 years from now. And I'm very much a student of history. I love studying American history. I went to school in Boston for a reason. Like, I love American history. I minored in history in college. And I've always just been really into it, either Revolutionary War history or Civil War history or stuff like that. Not so much World War stuff, not so much like world history. This is why I never got into the World War II stuff. But like American history, I love that shit. And so I've always been very much of a student of history, and I've always thought about my work as making sure we have an archive of this moment for history, making sure there were people who were speaking up from our side. We were writing books, we were creating materials, we were creating art, we were creating our own culture, we were doing all these things, we were documenting what was going on. Like, creating these documents for history as a legacy has always been very important to me and very top of mind. Much more important than going on a fucking podcast, I'll tell you that. So that's it, guys, and I just wanted to do a quick, stream to talk about my feelings for that, and, thank everyone that's been new to my work, that's supporting my work. It's so cool, man. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. Like, you guys don't know, like, for people who are new to my work, it has been a struggle in ways I cannot even tell you. There have been so many years doing this that has been a struggle. I feel like I've been pushing a boulder uphill for years. And then what was so cool about it is it like everything turned in an instant. And it wasn't that things were bad. You know, it wasn't that things were bad. Things weren't going bad. Like even before all the Fox News stuff, I was having my biggest year ever. I was having more supporters on the channel than ever. Like the uplift I had after the June riots, that was really a lot. But like so things weren't going bad. But like just the exponential growth that happened so quickly, and to see so many people in the chat that are just, like, really into this, and to see so many people coming back to the channel because that may have left for whatever reason, or they got sick of it, or they didn't believe me, they thought I was crazy or something like that. Like, to see so many people come back and be like, "Holy shit, Carlin, you were right about everything," and I'm like, "I know, I know, I know, I know." It's been so crazy, and just really it's like an epic mind fuck in a very real way. And so it's almost surreal to a certain extent. It's like I keep looking at the numbers and I'm like, "Is this actually happening?" I keep saying this to Victor too. I'm like, "Is this actually real? Like, there are this many new people that care about what I do?" Because for years, it just wasn't like this at all. And so, I just really appreciate it, guys. I really appreciate all the new people who've shown up. I appreciate all the people who've been here for years. I appreciate all the people supporting my work. And I just really wanna keep this momentum going, and so in order to keep the momentum going, I just need to keep focusing on exactly what I've always been doing. Nothing changes. Just because more people are watching, nothing changes. We're gonna have to do a little bit of, like, cleanup and stuff like that because we can't let any riffraff into our community. We can't let the rage baiters and, like, all this stuff and the con artists and, the people who are just here to cause problems, we can't allow them in, we have to get them out. But, but I really didn't think there were this many people who cared about this topic, and now I see and you know what? I think that Charlie Kirk getting assassinated definitely had an impact here, which is sad, but it is what it is. So I appreciate you were prepared for the sudden turn? Yeah. Well, I don't know if I was prepared, Judy. I don't know if I was prepared, but, hey, Judy, I finally, wound my Westness mystery knit-along yarn last night. I'm about to start the mystery knit-along 2 weeks late, but I'm better late than never, I suppose. Yeah, the anti-retards. Kelly J, the anti-retards, that's exactly right. Well, we are gonna be doing Socialism Saturday tonight at 6 p.m. I don't know exactly what we're gonna be watching yet, but we will be watching Hardcore Radical Revolutionary Socialism at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll probably be doing live protest coverage later if anything's going on. Last night it was actually pretty quiet, if I'm being honest about it. It was raining out last night, so there wasn't a lot going on. They arrested a woman in a squirrel outfit. That was pretty cool. But there really wasn't much going on last night. But we will watch our protest coverage and we'll do that. And I've got a big breaking news thing, well, it's not breaking news. Next week is gonna be interesting. Let me just say that. Next week is going to be interesting, and you will find out more about how it's gonna be interesting next week, okay? So thank you guys for letting me do what I do. If you haven't yet supported my work, please consider doing so on Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. If you want to volunteer for the Center for Left Wing Studies and join us on our Monday meeting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, go to leftwingstudies.com, click the volunteer button, get into the Discord, get yourself verified. You can come and join us and find out what we're doing there. And, we just keep going. We just keep going because we're winning. We are winning for the first time in fucking years. We are winning. We are winning. Okay, guys, I'll see you on the stream later. Take care. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.